But yeah, I was sort of mid tree cut and the whole chainsaw just kind of fell apart. And
hey everybody, it's been another week, but it's been actually really nice because last week when we did a video it was really hot. We were absolutely melting. It has been a lot cooler this week,
yeah,
and that's helped us a great deal to get a lot more done. So
it's been a busy week.
It has been a busy week. We're both pretty tired.
Yeah.
The first 2 days of the week went fine.
I should say what we were doing.
We were clearing, clearing more of the path to get through to the property. It's yeah, it went really well, and then we had an issue with the chainsaw.
Yeah, we lost the sort of two nuts, bolts, whatever you want to call it, that hold it together pretty much.
I mean, I could make improper jokes about
yes,
losing our nuts in the woods, but I won't. But it literally was like looking for needles in a haystack.
Yeah, they just sort of fell off when it was in use, and I mean, it was fine. Like it wasn't, it didn't do anything that I would consider dangerous or anything. It basically just shut itself down, which is good. But yeah, I was sort of mid tree cut and the whole chainsaw just kind of fell apart, and I think they were just kind of a bit loose.
Yeah.
And so
Had
with the vibrations and
vibrated with the
everything, they just sort
wheels.
of fell off. And yeah, we did kind of go in. We spent 2 days almost trying to see if we could find them, because it was not an easy thing to replace. You'd think it would be,
Yeah,
but
you'd think it would be, but I mean, like Home Hardware didn't have any. The local automotive store didn't have any.
Yeah.
Actually, trying to just find regular nuts that fit
Yeah.
just didn't have any. So it was a matter of like finding them online and ordering them, and
Yeah.
that would take a considerable amount of time.
But we still wanted, and we did, I think, eventually.
So yeah, so
Order
we
them,
have
but
ordered some online, which will arrive hopefully this coming week.
we were hoping to find them, and we did find one of them
Yes.
after about a day of sort of raking, shifting, going through, sifting the ground.
And literally, I mean, needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a crazy amount of stuff on the ground, and really, I mean, it should have stuck out like a sore thumb, because
Yeah.
it was metal and everything else is wood and whatever. We
Yeah.
even tried sweeping a little magnet over there to see if we could find it that way, but no such luck. But at the end of that, this is where we were. So this is sort of where we stopped time lapse, is where we are standing right now, and we kind of think that we're pretty close. So if you have a look at this large tree right up here, that is sort of our benchmark, and that's actually about, I would say, 20 or 30 meters
Yeah.
from where we are
About 20.
right now.
Yeah. And actually, maybe we'll go around to the other side and
Yeah.
give you a shot
Give you a
of
shot
how
from
it
there.
looks from where we're going in from there.
So for a little bit of context, we were standing around here, and again, there's that tall tree right there. And this is the path, which you guys are familiar with, that we've been on.
The walking path.
The walking path next to it, because we've taken you along here before. And because it's sort of like windy and stuff like that, you don't actually realize how close you're getting. So
Now we've actually walked past it, and there's a little bit
there it is
to
there.
go beyond that, but
Yeah, I mean, like
that's sort of our marker point.
That's sort of our marker point. So we're going to go and look at it from the other side and show you what that looks like. And again, path feels very windy and stuff, and it feels like it's quite a lot longer.
But it's also because the trees alongside the path go further than where the point is that we stopped cutting.
So this here is the area that Sandy used the slasher on, and there's that tree. So really, we are not far at all from where we want to be. And if you look this way, then the property line is sort of where you can see Remy's butt. But yeah, so we're pretty close. We're getting there. So that's where we were when the chainsaw was down. And then we went into town. I went to Home Hardware and was like, okay, I'm going to just try and find any nuts that will fit.
Yeah.
Because we're just like, we can't just sit here for another week waiting for stuff to arrive from online. And so I went in and I was trying a bunch of different ones, and I went to the cashier and I'm like, I just want to go and see if this fits. And she's like, I bet you it's for your chainsaw. So I said, yes. And anyway, so I brought the chainsaw in, the nut didn't fit. And she's like, you know what, hold on a second. And made a phone call to her manager, and basically someone had returned a chainsaw to them, and someone else had asked for one of the nuts, and turns out the other nut was still there and available. So while it's not exactly the same, it's just not as deep as the original. It does fit, and so we got that for free. So that at least allowed us to continue doing more clearing, which we'll cut in right here.
So we finally broken through.
So we finally
other
broken
side.
through to the other side, which is great, and it's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a lot to do, and we'll just quickly walk you through sort of the last 2 or 3 weeks of what we've cleared,
Yeah.
Which we've just done to show you. So most of you are familiar with where we've been clearing, because we've showed you all these pieces in time-lapse. We won't bore you with going back and showing you them all again. But where we just started filming is about 30 meters from the camper.
Yeah.
So we still have to clear that part.
Somewhat.
Somewhat. It's partially cleared, but we want to make sure that we can get the camper and the truck through easily. But this is the last little bits that you've been seeing, and we've got quite a lot done, and a crazy dog. Now, I know someone had asked why we haven't been cutting the stumps down completely. A lot of it is because it's really hard to see what's down there. And so
It was. Now you can see because we've been raking.
Yeah,
And
we've
that
been
sort of thing. But when we were actually cutting, there was a lot of tall grass and other sort of plants around, so you couldn't quite see exactly the bottom, and you're just sort of trying to get it as clear as possible.
so that we could see what's there. So we can then, decide where the truck's going to actually go, and the camper's going to go, and what the sort of vehicle trail is going to be.
But these stumps are going to get cut right down to the ground level.
But I mean, we do have other obstacles to deal with, like, fallen trees like these, so on and so forth. But the coolest part is that between yesterday and today, we've actually managed to completely break through on this trail to the property. So as you will recall, our pathway, lots of deadfall here too, but our path that we've been walking in from comes here, and then this was the part that was really boggy, and I just sort of stepped to the side. You can vaguely see over there is where the greenhouse and everything was. So we'll take a little bit of a closer walk in there. And I mean, we still know that we have so much to clear, like especially here. We still have to clear this out properly. It is starting to rain, so we may cut this a bit short soon. But yeah, so we still have to do some more clearing here, but we're getting there. And it opens up rather nicely. To our original clearing. So just to put that in perspective for you, we've probably cleared now about 1,000 feet of trail, and which is about 330 meters, which is quite a lot. And I'll quickly show you our garden. So all of the plants seem to be doing okay here. They seem to be liking it. Still haven't planted everything, and we've got more space that we need to clear. But yeah, we now have a trail from here all the way back to the camper, which is quite an accomplishment. So as you can see, I mean, we've got all the way into the property now. It's basically a straightforward walk. Now, just to touch more on the stumps and stuff that are in there, just in case the audio is not great on the walkthrough. But someone had asked, why are we not cutting down the stumps? Well, honestly, because you can't really see them. There was so much growth and so much other foliage around that we really had to sort of get the tree out the way so we could cut that down, rake that out the way, and then sort of expose where all of these are. But we're also not trying to build the 401 here.
Yeah.
We're not going to be asphalting 4 lanes or anything like that. Nice as that would be.
For those who aren't familiar with Toronto or
That's
Ontario, that's a major highway,
a
the
huge,
401.
very, very wide highway. But yeah, so there's, we're not trying to do that. We are just trying to get the truck and the camper through and be able to access that way. So basically, we wanted to make sure that it is safe for the truck to go over, and so we'll be strategically going through and getting rid of as many of the stumps as we need to, without necessarily having to get rid of all of them, because we couldn't really do it if there was a stump in the way. So so that's the stump situation. So yeah, we still have a lot to do. We still have a lot of trimming to do. We have a lot of clearing and stuff like that. But
I wouldn't call it a lot.
It's not
we have some to do.
Comparatively,
still,
it's not a lot.
But I mean, we've made some pretty huge progress this last week, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially with the setbacks that we've had.
Yeah.
And really just getting through there was a huge deal for us because throughout it, a lot of it has really just felt like it's just never going to end, and we're never actually going to get through there. So, I mean, pardon me, we're quite tired from all of this. We've really just finished it up today, too, just raking through and that sort of thing. So, but it's more, I'd call a lot of it more just kind of superficial, like touch-ups versus actual major clearing that we still have to do. So,
and I mean, there's the hardest part is that there's a lot of deadfall as well, as you saw in the walkthrough. And I mean, like it's I say hardest part. It just they're more difficult to move because they're sort of in the ground. Fortunately, they're not huge. They're not like the size log, but still they have to be moved out the way, and then we can see what the ground underneath looks like, and then it's going to be sort of like, okay, do we take some dirt from elsewhere and sort of fill in those holes? How are we going to get the truck and the camper through safely? Because at the end of the day, safety is what we want to do. And we basically want to get the camper in and get it situated, which is sort of like opposite where the garden was. And we haven't really shown you much of that area, but we will be in the next couple of videos. But we broke through to the other side, and that's sort of like a reason to celebrate. And we're quite happy about that. Very tired. As Sandy said, we both are.
And it's a bit, as you can see probably behind us, it's a bit of a dreary day, so that's kind of adding to the fatigue at this point and the come down of it all. But
and it started quite hot.
Nice
I mean, like surprisingly, they forecast 19, but it did not feel like 19.
No, not earlier
sun
today.
And stuff. It was brutally warm. So so we are tired. We're happy. We're tired, and we really couldn't do all what we do without your support. So we really do thank everyone for your constant messages and support of us, both in comments down below, which we love. We love your comments. We love your questions.
We're not always quick about getting back to them because we don't always have the greatest connection here for that, but we will get back to everything eventually.
But yes, thank you so much for your comments and your support. And if you'd like to financially support us, you can do so via PayPal, and our link is down in the description of this video. But of course, and we've spoken about this before, the absolute best way is to sign up for Patreon, where you can help us on a monthly basis and get some of the benefits of being on Patreon, which include exclusive content that you won't see here on YouTube or on other social media. So again, guys, thank you so much. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the notifications so that you know when we post our next video. And so from two very tired guys,
Yes.
and a very curious dog who's, I think, going to go and chase a chipmunk, because there's a chipmunk that lives just down here. So until the next video, guys, thanks so much for watching.